Rahim with Eddie Hearn. Santa Monica, Riyadh season. We're on the ocean. Now listen, I spent a lot of time in the UK, so I can't slag it off. I have a good time there. But you got to admit, California is hard to beat, man.
The climate is unbelievable now. I mean, last night we went for a real slow run down to Venice Beach and back, 10K. The sun was setting on Santa Monica Beach. We're living a dream for Riyadh season. Riyadh season, we know, Rahim, the events have been incredible in Riyadh.
Right.
Tonight, or this week, we're experiencing Riyadh season in Los Angeles. It's going to be amazing. The card's going to be amazing. As you can see from the setup here, fight week's going to be amazing. It's a big week for American boxing.
Now you are trying to derail the pound-for-pound #1 American boxer that everybody I've talked to so far, and I think it is a mistake, that they just don't know Madrimov well enough to know just how tough a fight this potentially is.
I think, people will say to me, oh, you're talking up Madrimov. You think Madrimov's going to win. Look, firstly, I'm Madrimov's promoter, right? Mm-hmm. But I do it with an air of confidence because I know how good the kid is. It's only his 11th fight. Like, look, let's be honest. Like, you'd always hope to have another 2 or 3 once you become world champion before you fight a Crawford. Mm-hmm. But why not? Why not roll the dice? It's a special talent, Israel Madrimov. Unfortunately for him, Terence Crawford is, in my opinion, the pound-for-pound #1. But this is what you're in the game for. To prove you're the best. This is not a guy who can't win this fight. This is a guy who's up against it, against a generational great. But don't rule out Israel Madrimov in this fight. He's ready. He's a big 154-pounder. He punches very hard. He has great movement, great ring IQ. He's strong as an ox. And he's ready. He's ready for Saturday night.
On social media, a lot of people have some fun with Madrimov looking like Triple G. And I think that's a fair comparison in the sense that he might have that kind of impact on the sport down the line. But this reminds me of kind of Mayweather and Canelo, where you have a guy who is seasoned, who's #1, who's at the best and the top of his game, fighting a guy who's on the way up, but might not be ready for this level.
Maybe.
Might not, though. But my question, Eddie, is if he is, what's the edge? I mean, where does he look for his advantage? Is it size? It's certainly not going to be
his movement's great. He has to land on Terence Crawford, and he has to land with intent. Terence Crawford's a guy that's come up from 135 to 140 to 147, now to 154. Sooner or later, you hope it's a step too far. You're fighting a much bigger guy that punches very hard. But again, we're under no illusions. We're up against, as I said, a generational great. But we're here to win. And this ain't an easy fight. I think this is the toughest fight of Terence Crawford's career so far.
Terence Crawford's not looking past Madrimov. You're not representing Terence. I know all these things, but the fight question you're going to get throughout the week, regardless, is this Canelo looming in the distance. Do you think that no matter what he says, that kind of payday, that kind of challenge might take his eye off the ball come this Saturday night?
He's a consummate professional. I mean, look, I know that he's involved in a lot of conversations himself about the next fight. That can be very distracting. And any edge we can get in that respect, fantastic. But you can't expect a fighter like Terence Crawford to take things lightly. Do you know what I mean? You know that he's going to be ready. He's going to be ready for Saturday night, and we hope we can match him.
Now, you guys had a bit of a barb back and forth, good-natured jabbing at each other earlier this week. But it looks like the way you kind of play around with the fighters that you do represent sometimes. Now, we know Terence, after this fight, could potentially be looking for representation for the Canelo fight. Like, is this...
I don't think he needs it. He's got the relationship with His Excellency. We can help on the ground, and I think it would always be a good idea to have me on your team. But he's in a good position. He's got His Excellency backing him, and I think he'll be just fine.
A guy who certainly is a free agent and definitely, I think, needs some representation at this stage, Shakur Stevenson. Obviously, that is a conversation that has been had in the positive and the negative. What did you make of this last performance that everybody is critiquing?
He's very good, but sometimes when you get criticised for fighting a little bit defensively, people jump on the bandwagon very quickly during the fight. Do you know what I mean? Oh, he's boring to get up. He dominated the fight. He came forward most of the fight, but you're only going to see the best of Shakur Stevenson against the best opposition. I think he's a pound-for-pound great fighter. I would love to be part of his team. He's got to work for everybody. He's got a great group of people working around with him, and he's a pound-for-pound fighter. He needs to be promoted correctly, and he needs to be moved in the right way, and the kid can be a superstar.
Has he not been promoted correctly thus far?
Yeah, because he called out the fact that he was leaving Top Rank, a couple of fights ago. They gave up on it. They decided not to push him. He's had over a year of no one pushing him, and his achievements speak for himself. He's a young man. He's a 3-division world champion. He's already a pound-for-pound great fighter. This is a generational great in the making for American boxing. This kid should be supported. You know, he should be championed. And the American public need to embrace him because he's one of their own and he's a true great.
You say that Top Rank gave up on him. There is a further step that could be taken that, again, conspiracy theories would have you believe that they've shown him in a bad light intentionally on his way out the door, showing people leaving the arena. Like, you know,
it's a dirty game, Rahim. It's a dirty game.
You believe that that's how the game was played on that night?
Not necessarily, but I don't think they're going to be championing the fact that he did a huge gate that night. You know, they sold like 10,000 tickets, did the biggest number on ESPN, right, in boxing this year. They're not going to say that. You imagine if they had a long-term deal with Shakur and he did those numbers. There'd be graphics going out. Record breaker, Shakur Stevenson, biggest numbers of the year, huge gate in Newark. But instead it was like, don't talk about that, he's gone, leave him. You know, and that would have affected him. But he's on his way now, he's in a great position, and we wish him all the best. A
guy who's had a tough nut to crack, getting through, being a star, always willing to take the challenge, looking for the next tough fight, has had a bit of unlucky spell here with Catterall having been out, no longer on a Manchester fight. I saw it said cancelled. Usually I'd see it postponed.
No, that show is cancelled. So the fight is postponed. We're rescheduling it to a new date. That'll be announced this week.
Obviously, I'm talking about Regis Prograis, not Catterall. So it'll be rescheduled this week. So you're not looking for another opponent?
No, still that fight's still happening. It will land in October.
And, lastly, but maybe most importantly, really, is the IBF title that'll be on the line in just a couple of months. We're not looking past that matchup to the undisputed rematch. I think this might end up being maybe fight of the year. A lot of people are giving Joshua odds-on favorites. Do you believe that Daniel Dubois is a tougher challenge than some are giving him credit for?
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's a good fighter. He's on a great run. It's actually a bad time to be fighting both guys. Do you know what I mean? They're both full of confidence. They're both coming off 2 great wins. It's a brilliant heavyweight fight. 2 very fast, big punching heavyweights. And, I know we lost Joshua Wilder, but in many respects, this fight has a lot of similarities with the speed, with the power. And Joshua is a favourite in this fight. There's no doubt about it. But Daniel Dubois is live and he's dangerous. And we've got to be switched on and make sure AJ can become 3-time world heavyweight champion.
We talk about momentum. It's a bad time to fight each guy. I think for their confidence brimming, I think that's true. There could be the criticism that, Joshua's confidence is built on a lesser opponent, fighters that he should beat, that he had an easy time with. I don't know if that's because he made it easy or because the fight that he was in wasn't tough, whereas Dubois was in a series of wars.
I think you're clutching at straws. I think that everybody tries to find a way to discredit people. Not saying you are, but it's like, on one hand, oh my God, Ngannou's so dangerous. Look what he done against Fury. Bang, sensational knockout. Yeah, but he's an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Otto Warlin gives Tyson Fury a load of trouble. Goes to Russia, beats Gassiev in his backyard. It's a mismatch against Anthony Joshua. Yeah, but it's Otto Warlin, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So, if you want to play the other hand, you could say that Filip Hrgović didn't come into that fight in any kind of shape at all. And Jarrell Miller, so what? Who's Jarrell Miller? That's his 2 wins. But they're both good wins. And so was Warlin and Ngannou, in all honesty. So give them the credit. They're in the form of their life. Let's see a great heavyweight fight.
You've got some history with both Jarrell Miller and Andy Ruiz. We might see a great heavyweight fight on the card here on Saturday. How do you think that fight shakes out?
Brilliant fight. I mean, I love that fight. I love the 2 heavyweight fights. And a lot of that fight's going to come down to how much Andy Ruiz actually wants it. Like, he's made a lot of money. He's been through a lot. Once your desire goes, it becomes really horrible in there when you've got some guy who's 290 pounds leaning and slobbering all over you. And look out for Jared Anderson against Martin Bakole. What a fight. I think that's a terrible bit of matchmaking from Team Jared Anderson. Ballsy, and if they win, well, I'll give you all the credit in the world. You're the real deal. Because Martin Bakole can, and he's very dangerous on Saturday night.
ESPN has called Jared Anderson the potential next heavyweight champion. Do you think
we'll see on Saturday. We'll see on Saturday. He may well get beat on Saturday night. Or if he's the real deal, he'll win.
I know I've got to let you run soon. We saw an instant classic in London just last Saturday night. We saw Derek Chisora, who nobody thought was going to put on a performance like that, against Joe Joyce. What did you make of that fight? I know you're watching it.
Obviously, it's 2 guys that are past their best, but 2 great guys. We love Del Boys. His heart is massive. It was hard to watch at times, but it was also grueling, exciting, and great heavyweight fight. And I was delighted to see Del get the victory.
Were you shocked or at least surprised by the outcome?
No, I probably felt that Joyce was a slight favourite, but they're both war-torn. You know, and Joyce just gets hit so much. Do you know what I mean? And Derek was tired at the end. He got a big knockdown, and I was pleased to see him get the win.
Joyce, just 2 years ago.
About 10 minutes ago that this was the last question. So go on.
Okay, well, this is almost the last question
Okay.
because I might have a follow-up. Joyce was 2 years ago talked about like Joshua should face him. Fury was ducking him.
This is how boxing works, Rahim. Joyce is this, Joyce is that. Joyce has always been a good heavyweight, but he has big flaws. Yeah, you can't get hit a lot in the heavyweight division by big punches. And this is the same with Daniel Dubois, who walked into a lot of shots against Filip Hrgović. If he walked into those shots against Anthony Joshua, he'll be asleep before he even can count to 10, right? So if you're Joe Joyce and you're slow and your defense is leaky and poor and you get hit a lot, you're going to get beat at top level. And that's what happened when he fought Zhilei Zhang. Do you know what I mean? He fought a Joseph Parker that was actually not the Joseph Parker that we see today. But Joyce he had a great engine, but where he's become war-torn, his chin's not as good as it was. He just used to walk, he used to be juggernaut. You could hit him with everything. You'll never budge him. You chip away at a tree, all of a sudden, it goes over. And that's what happened in the Zhang fight, and it's got worse and worse since.
Is there anything left for Joyce in the boxing?
Listen, live your life, be happy. If boxing makes you happy and you're healthy to do it, carry on. But it's not going to be at championship level.
I'll let you live your life and be happy. I'm happy with the time you gave me, as always. Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn.